Before we begin, and before I give the floor or Zoom to Marta and to our great panelists, Davide Merula from ZIMS and Paulina Marzok from Too Good To Go, and Witold Statkiewicz from Łukasiewicz Research Network, we would like to connect the dots between the previous session and this session. Bettina shared with us her vision for the future of food, and we know what challenges are waiting ahead. One of those challenges will be making the whole supply chain more efficient and more sustainable, and technology seems to be leading the way in this area. So before we give the floor to the experts in terms of intelligent supply chains, we would like to know, are we all aware of technical solutions that have been invented and implemented in the supply chain? So we have prepared a quiz, 6 true or false questions about existing or potential solutions in this field. And I would like you not to be worried because the quiz is anonymous and there will be no grades. So we would like to only explore the subject with you. And if you let us, we will discuss the results at the end of this panel. I hope it is okay with you, Marta, Jelena, Davide, Witold. It's okay?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Okay, so we will share the link to the survey. Marcin, could you please share the link on chat? Or I will do it myself, no problem. And we would like you to have a few, like 2 minutes, just to answer those questions, and we will deliver the results at the end of this session. Marta, I think that we can arrange the floor for your panelists. So Marcin is already spotlighting our participants, and we will start with Davide's presentation. So I hope that, well, you can answer the questions before you start.
But I'll do it later, maybe. If maybe wants to give 5 minutes everybody so they can go through the question instead.
Yes, I have those 2 minutes. Just we can arrange the floor in the meantime.
Yeah. I think we can start, but I hope that everyone give us their answer in the survey. But I think that we can start. Okay. Welcome all once again. Let me introduce myself. My name is Marta Cudziło. I'm a head of logistics department, the Logistics Development Center in the Łukasiewicz Research Network Institute of Logistics and Warehousing from Posen. Long name, I know. Yeah. And I realize also that my presence as a chair of this panel may be a bit surprising for you, because the panel was supposed to be moderated by Professor Arkadiusz Kawa. However, for reasons beyond his control, Arkadiusz was unable to take part this event, so I will try to replace him. And let's start. Dear all, according to the updated agenda, I suppose we have about an hour, and the topic of our panel is smart food supply chains. It's a great and very broad topic, and we are pleased to have some great guests on the panel. And let me first introduce everyone, and then I will present the agenda for the panel. So we have especially business representatives here, people with, I suppose, with extensive experience in operating within food supply chains in the different roles. So we have Paulina Marzok, Key Account Manager at Too Good To Go. Welcome. Hello, Paulina. I know you had some technical problems, but you are here. Great. We have also Davide Merula, Innovation Manager at ZIMT, Digital Traceability Startup. Great. We have also Witold Statkiewicz. Witold is my work colleague, and also he is a business process analyst at Łukasiewicz Institute of Logistics and Warehousing. Unfortunately, as Anna said, we don't have here Mr. Krzysztof Koszela from Poznań University of Life Sciences. He couldn't be with us today, but our invitation to participate in the panel was accepted by Jelena Jovansevich, Senior Research Director from Kinetic. Hello.
Hello.
I very much hope that I didn't not misspell any names. If so, please forgive me in advance. So what will be discussed on this panel? Let me make some short introduction. During the panel, we will talk actions that support the efficient operations of food supply chains, including the identification of the origin of goods and tracking them through the whole chain. Also, we will discuss about how important is to obtain and digitize data in the flow, on the flow of good products. And also we will talk about possible ways to prevent food waste. First, I think that I hope our guests will give a short 10 or 15 minutes presentations describing what they do and their products that support food supply chains. After the presentations, we will start a discussion and talk together about supporting and optimizing food supply chains. I have one tip for participants. Dear participants, if you have any questions, both for the presentation and within the discussion, please feel free to save your questions on the chat. The last part of our panel, we will ask our guests to answer the questions. And if the question will be addressed to a specific person, please indicate that in the question on the chat. I also ask each presenter to share their presentation using the button share screen at the main menu. And I hope that everything is clear. So without wasting time, let's move on to the mentioned presentations. And I think that we can start with David Merula, Innovation Manager from ZIMT. David will present solutions for SMEs for the first mile digitalizations and last mile consumer interaction that is based on digital notary system delivered by ZIMT. David, the floor is yours. Show us your presentation and say something about your product.
Okay, thanks a lot, Marta. So share screen, desktop one, no, data certification, presentation, why? Okay, I hope that you can see me because I can only see what I am presenting.
Yes, I see.
Very good. Thanks for having me. My name is David Merula. As you said, I'm Innovation Manager at ZIMT. We are a couple of years old startup operating out of Switzerland and with actually longer history in blockchain. So why ZIMT? Because we realized that there's almost 300,000 SMEs in Europe, and they will be required more and more to interact with authorities, clients, partners, to provide trustable and reliable information, right? But this is an issue for several aspects. Sorry, of course. This is an issue for several aspects because those companies often lack the technical capabilities to set up those complex solutions, and the resources to implement it, and to go through the interaction with all the actors that are composing a supply chain. So we decided to provide a simple solution based on our technology that I'm going to explain you in a bit. And actually, this is one of the solutions that we built, and I thought it was most relevant to this type of conversation. But I will invite you later on to just think a little bit in a broader sense. So what do we have is a system that allows field workers, let it be growers, let it be farmers, meat producer, or whatever, to collect information directly from the field. This through apps dedicated to the function that they are doing. This information is collected and available to the owner, let's say, of the organization through a dashboard, and it goes through our central technology, our hub, that allows them to certify them. This is for inputting the information. To make available the information, we have created a QR code system that allows users to scan those QR code printed on goods and have access to the complete history of the product. Now, this is, as I said, is just one application of what we do. The core technology is our digital notary. What is it? It's a way to leverage blockchain, so this immutable database, to certify information and provide data integrity. How does it work? Well, we have an input stream of information. This input stream gets to our hub, where we create a proof of notarization or a proof of existence, which is nothing else than a cryptographic key that is placed on one or several blockchain at the same time. While this proof of existence is put on the blockchain, the information remains stored in the private or public database that belongs to the owner of the information. In so doing, it's very interesting because first, the information remains private to the owner, which is very important. And secondly, it is always possible to demonstrate that this information has not been tampered with. Why? Because when you present this information, let's say, to verification authority, no matter which one it is, they can recalculate this proof of existence. And because of mathematical relationship that I'm not going to enter into the detail, they can demonstrate that nothing has been changed into this information. So this is for the technology behind. We have we provide the SMEs with the producer dashboard that allows them to collect, as I said, information about raw ingredients. We allow them to perform serializations on those ingredients and on the different products that are created with those ingredients. So we provide all the traceability of those raw material down to the supply chain. And again, we are compatible with GS1 standard, and we allow to implement QR codes. And last but not least, all this information can be used to application that are of interest, like organic, fair trade, CO2 neutral, and so on and so forth. Yeah, at the end of the spectrum, let's say there is this consumer app, which is QR code driven. I'm sure that everybody is aware about how a QR code works. One thing that we realized that was very important is the competition for space and labels, and the complexity of printing this type of QR code. So we came out with a hybrid system where we combine a standard QR code for a certain given product, let's say a bar of chocolate, with the best before date printed of the bar of chocolate to understand which production batch it was, so that we can provide very specific information to the final consumer, but at the same time avoid the company to implement very complicated serialization process on the packaging. So that was it. I hope that you have understood, and I'm looking forward for any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much for interesting presentation. Exactly, I remind participants that if you have any questions, you can write them down in the chat, and we will try to answer at the last part of our panel. But now let's go with another presentation, and now I would like to invite Paulina Marzoch, Key Account Manager at Too Good To Go. Paulina will tell us about online and app-based platform that allows restaurants, cafes, and so on that produce surplus food to sell it at their end of service rather than throw it in the bin. Very great. Seems to be great initiatives. Paulina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for this introduction. I'm going to share my screen now. Just pick one. I guess this is this one. You cannot see my screen yet, right? That's correct.
No,
No.
I can't see your screen.
All right. Okay, just 1 second, please. Due to the technical issues, I had to grab another computer real quick and. Okay.
Yeah, during such meetings, technical problems. Yeah, it's a big problem sometimes, but we will wait.
1 minute. All right, we're there.
Great. We see your computer.
This is it. Okay. So I see it's still loading.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go. So
Great.
thank you for this introduction. As Marta said, my name is Paulina Marzoch, and I am a key account manager at Too Good To Go. What we exactly do is we help any businesses that have food in their offering reduce the food waste at the one of the very last stages of the supply chain, right before the products reaches the customer. But what exactly is the driver towards what we do? It's the huge problem of food waste that I would like to have a quick sight upon before we move to the solution itself. So the problem is really big because over 1/3 of the food globally is wasted every year. It's 40% to be more exact, and to be even more exact, it's 2.5 billion tons a year. This number is really huge, but it might be difficult to grasp. So let me help you picture it this way. Let's imagine that if we go to a grocery store and we end up buying 5 bags of food, we are throwing 2 of them on the way back home. So it's a huge waste with not only negative impact on the financial situation, but also on the ethical aspect, because people suffer from hunger each year. And just to highlight this issue for the one last time. Since the beginning of this presentation, we have wasted already globally over 5,000 tons of food. So it's 79 tons of food every single second wasted globally. And Too Good To Go, however, we are focusing on the environmental impact because it's also a vast one. Food waste is responsible for 10% of annual gas emissions. It's a huge number again. And let me picture it this way: if food waste was a country, it would be the third biggest emitter of greenhouse gas emissions, right after China and USA. So it's a big one. It's just as much as road transportation emits every year. Which brings us to the vision that we have at Too Good To Go. We are dreaming of a planet with no food waste. So as long as there is food wasted somewhere in the world, we still have plenty of work to do, and we are striving towards minimizing this effect on climate. So we are a global social enterprise with a mission. We would like to inspire and empower everyone to fight food waste together, because it's accessible to everyone. People can do it at home. It's regardless if they join the app, if they download it or not, it can still be done at home. So we also, with our partners, we strive towards educating the people. We also provide marketing campaigns, and it's all part of the movement and accessible to our partners in the app. It's not empty worded. We also have numbers. Too Good To Go is present on the market for 6 years now. The whole movement started in Denmark. And up until this moment, we have saved more than 100 millions of meals worldwide, because last year we entered USA and Canada. So we went across the pond. We are not only European startup now, we are also a global one. And moving to the solution itself, what the core of Too Good To Go is the consumer app. It's a global platform that allows any kind of business that offers food to sell whatever is left at the end of the day, or whatever is about to reach the expiry date. Sell it on the app to our users. That is over 1.5 million in Poland right now. And the users, when they download the app, when they buy the food on the app, they can pick it up themselves at the place of our partners. What I would like to highlight here is that we understand that our partners, the store, the restaurants, the hotels, the caterings, they cannot really predict what exactly will go to waste every day. So whatever goes to the app is a magic bag. So it means it's a surprise up until the moment of the pickup time. The user can see in the app a general description of the store, of the place, but they will never know what's exactly inside. So they find out at the very moment they pick up the magic bag. It's a great solution, very easy to implement one. There are no losers, only winners. Our users can buy nice, good, fresh products at a very affordable price. Our partners reduce financial loss. And both of them, and us as well, we have good influence, good impact on the environment. And how exactly does saving food impact the environment in a positive way? So every magic bag that is available on the app, it's not only the food itself, but it's also the resources, the soil that was needed to plant it, that was the transportation, that was all the steps among the supply chain. And also the emissions that were generated on the way. So every meal that we save on the app means that the resources, the CO2 emission was not emitted for nothing. We save it from going literally to waste. And to wrap it up, at the very end, I would like to point out that Project Drawdown, it's an association of over 200 climate as scientists have stated that fighting food waste is the #1 solution to fight climate change. Why is that? It's because it's accessible to everyone. It can be done at home. It can be done at business. It needs to be done collectively in order to have a higher impact. So it stated that if you can do one thing for climate, that should be reducing food waste. So this is what we would like you, we would like to invite you to join, and we are looking forward to working together. I think we still have time for some questions. So if there are any, I would be ready to and glad to answer them.
Thank you very much, Paulina. I think that we will find time for questions. I suppose that it will be some questions because your presentation was really interesting, and I think that we can all agree that this is a great and needed initiative, and that really has measurable benefits for all participants in supply chains. As you said, it's a win-win-win solution, so everyone should be happy. And also this surprise element is very intriguing in this solution. I think that in the next part of the panel we will talk about the solution to Good to Go. But now I would like to invite Witold to show us his presentation. As far as I know, Witold will talk about a solution that allows to manage products according to their expiration dates. So, Witold, tell us
exactly, yes. Hello, do you hear me? My
this.
first question is, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so let me share the screen. Okay, and do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Okay, so hello everybody. At the beginning, I would like to say that so far we've talked about some solutions which are already in the market, right? I would like to talk about the solution which is still about to be prepared, right? This is something we are working in the Institute of Logistics. We've done some research already. We are preparing the prototype of the IT solution, which could, in our opinion, help a lot of people, right? Hopefully, we will also manage to achieve the win-win-win situation as mentioned in the presentation before. Basically, what is this presentation? The IT solution is about. We've discovered that a lot of shops, right? A lot of big shops and the small convenience stores are facing a problem when it comes to knowledge about the expiration date of their products. Basically nowadays, especially in the small convenience stores, all the situation is based on the manual search for the products which are about to get expired. And to be honest, in my opinion, in the 21st century, this is something that shouldn't happen, that the employees of the shops have to look for the products manually, especially that nowadays these shops have more and more tasks to do. Like, I don't know, they have to prepare food, they have to, I don't know, send or give the packages, right, or something like this. So basically what we would like to do is to help them to increase the effectiveness in terms of managing the products when it comes to the expiry dates. At the beginning, I'll start with a slide about the future, because basically nowadays, as you know, all the products, right, all the products which are in the shops, they have the global trade item number, right? They get all the products have this barcode. The future, which we think that will happen, but not very soon, is that all the products will have these kind of barcodes, right? The data barcodes or the data matrix barcodes, which could have additional information in them, right? So, for example, they could have the serial number, the production batch, right? For example, if there's the good with variable quantity, it could also contain this, but it could also have the expiration date. Nowadays, only some products already have these kind of codes, but these are the products which production is not very high. Because if you imagine that, for example, you are about to produce, I don't know, 100,000, I don't know, chocolates or bottles of, of juice or something, it would be very difficult for you in terms of production process, right? To stop the production and to change the label with the new special special code, right? Which has more information. Right now, this kind of system is already used in, for example, in production of medicines, the more expensive ones. So this system is already here, right? But to persuade the whole world, all producers from the whole world, to use this kind of system, right? To change the production process, it is a little bit difficult nowadays. I'm pretty sure that this will happen one day, right? That all the products will have separate barcodes for separating this this bigger barcodes, right? For every production, for every batch with different expiration dates. But nowadays it's still not happening. So there should be some solution which could help to manage these things before this future, which I mentioned here, before this future will happen. So basically, what is the problem that we found right now? There are the problems when you are the shop manager, right? And it doesn't matter if it's a big shop or a small convenience store. Once you are not able to manage the expiry dates of your products, of course, we know what happens, right? You can lose the product, you can lose the profit, which could come from selling this product, right? You have the costs, for example, if you have to throw away the product, so these are also additional costs, not to mention some penalties or fines, which you can also get if someone finds the out-of-date product on your shelf, right? So there's a lot of costs, basically, not to mention the working time, which consumption of employees who has to look for their products and so on, right? And of course, ecological and ethical aspects, which I'm sure was talked all the way during this conversation, during this conference, and which will be talked in the future, right? So what the solution could do, right? As I said, we are about to create the app, which could help the store owners, right? To create to make the good inventory, right? To support them in terms of shelf management, right? It will help to select the goods with a short life. And basically, what we would like to do, let me give you an example. For example, if I already have the good information in my system, in my app about the expiration dates of the products, right? I could know that, for example, through the message system, I could get the information that, for example, this chocolate will be out of date in 10 days, which means that I know where this chocolate is located in my shop, right? More or less, I know where the chocolate is. I can make some promotion for this product, right? So I can cut the price in half or something like this. And for example, if it's 1 day or 2 days till the end of the date for this product, this app could automatically, for example, connect to the food bank system, for example, or some other charity places. Or, for example, not to mention, it could also help the shop owners to use the Too Good To Go app, right? It could also be connected with this as well. Of course, the next steps in terms of this app could be, for example, communication with loyalty apps. So once somebody has a loyalty app, it could give them personalized promotions, for example, right? But these are, of course, next steps. First of all, it's important to have the possibility to find the products which are about to get expired and to make certain moves not to waste them, right? This is the basic thing. The next steps are just the additional thing. So basically, if it will be working properly as we would like to, it will for sure reduce the costs, right? Increase the revenues of the shops. It will help in terms of corporate social responsibility, the PR of the shops, and so on. And of course, it will help not to waste the food, right? Which is one of the main reasons here. Because we've seen on the previous presentations how much food is lost in general in the world. So it will also help to answer this this problem. The basic here, as you can see, our basic vision is, right, that if we have the product directly from the producer, right, it goes through distribution center, then it goes to retail, right, to the store directly, and later on it could go to the food banks, the local charity, as I mentioned, some other places to also, for example, like Too Good To Go, and all these would be created with, first of all, GS1 standards as well, right? Some support with IT solutions, mobile applications, maybe even vision technologies according to the shop. This is something we are still working on, how it exactly will work. As I mentioned, the prototype is on the way, and step by step we will be trying to put this solution into the market, right, for the tests, and later on hopefully it will be something that all the people from around the world maybe could use. Basically, this is it from my side. Of course, I'll be happy to talk more about this solution. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I'll just to finish with one quote. It's not mine. I've read it somewhere. I changed it a little bit, and I think this is something which answers very good, in general, the conference. Right, the world is in the race, also in the production, sale, and consumption of food, and production and sales have the opportunities to grow, but food consumption, and especially in developed countries, is not unlimited, right? This is something we have to think about, right? That the consumption is not unlimited, and too much food means too much waste, basically. This is it from my side at this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Witold. I think we don't want to waste anything, food and time. So now we've heard in presentations about some very interesting solutions, and I suppose those solutions can support flows in the supply chains. Generally, the solutions may consist in changing the organizations or processes, but more often I think that they are related to the implementation of some technological solutions, and you have talked about such solutions. And now I would like to have some discussion. And first of all, I would like to ask you about some benefits. They are obvious, but also about some barriers of implementing smart solutions, broadly speaking, smart solutions in supply chains, and also how to tell the users, the consumers, that they can they have such solutions, they can use it. And we haven't had a chance to listen to Jelena yet, so let me ask you first to answer this question. What do you think about benefits and barriers? What do you see? And also, maybe you have some solution how to effectively communicate these solutions and their benefits.
Yes, thanks, Marta. So while listening, I was also thinking about the role of producers or farmers in the food chain, and thinking about technology solutions that are available and that are also good for them to use in order to reply to requests that consumers have. I would like to show you some research data that we have about adoption of technology among farmers. So for sure, they are listening to needs of consumers and what is needed from their side when they are participating in the food chain. But the big question is how this level of adoption of technology is influencing their role, and how this is developing. It is increasing in the last years, but also it differs a lot between countries. Also, it depends on cultural differences among farmers, depends on their mindset, on their financial situation, or how what are the circumstances they have to adopt new technologies. So let me show you a few data about that.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I will share my screen. If I'm sharing the right one. Is it there yet?
Yes, now we see.
Okay. Good. So just quickly, if we saw some solutions related to mobile apps, and if you are
Elena, sorry, can you use
the full screen?
screen?
Yeah, sure. Is it better now?
Yeah, great, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so if we are thinking about technology adoption among farmers and how they are using, for example, mobile apps, we can see that for professional use, most of them are using mobile apps, but it's important also to understand what is the purpose. So what they prefer is to use it to share their experiences with other farmers. So their primary group of peers is a group which is important for them to share experiences and information with. So the request coming from consumers and other players in the food chain is coming through another source, and is also then important for farmers to have increasing experience in communication and channels on how they can communicate with other supply chain players. Another example of data which will give you good overview of level of technology adoption by farmers is that majority of them, for different type of their work activities, are still using handwritten notes to collect data about their work. So only a minority of farmers are using some digital or automatic solutions to record information that are related to different work activities. What they say, why is the reasons, what are the reasons behind? So it's all about the habit or lack of financial or some other skills. So if we would like farmers to be more involved and more responsive in adopting technology, then they will need some support in terms of knowledge and also financial support to be able to adopt technology on a higher level. For example, here, when it comes to different types of work or steps in farmers' work, they also, majority of them is also doing this manually. So if there will be some information that is needed to be shared from farmers to reach consumers, then also data collection of farmers needs to be changed, and they need to be supported related to this. What reasons for non-use of any technology related to data collection? They say that it is too expensive, that they don't see the need since their fields are too small. So this is especially important for small and medium farmers. If we talk about big ones, they are already using and they are proficient in usage technology. They don't see the need. So there is also a need to explain why this is important from the wider picture, or they don't have enough knowledge, or they lack technology solutions to really apply it. Based on all this, we can identify several different segments of farmers based on their attitudes and habits related to technology. So we can identify those traditional or non-technology users. Then within those who are using, we have really the beginners, or those who are stuck in their own habits and are not open to adopt new technologies and new ways of communication. And those who, another segment are farmers who are rather skeptic, so they don't really see the need or don't see the point, so they will need a lot of information to be encouraged and to see the purpose of that. And there is a small share of farmers that represents around 15% of those who are very well digital or technology informed and like to use and adapt new technologies and stay up to date. So this can give you an overview of farmers types. These data are coming from German farmers, and there are, as I mentioned, a lot of differences among different countries, not across the world, which needs also to be taken into consideration.
It was really interesting. To be honest, I didn't know that farmers were so heavily digitized. Great research. But also I think that some data, some information are the base for each smart solution. So the awareness of producers, of farmers is the most important to create smart supply chains, I suppose. In my opinion, exactly, the data are the most important thing, and maybe it's also the biggest barrier of implementing smart solutions in supply chains. David, how does it look from your perspective? I think it's connected also with the question from the chat, because as far as I remember, Anna asked what is the main obstacle that you are facing in implementing those solutions to the market? Do you see data as the barrier or not?
The main obstacle in implementing those kind of technology is in digitalization. So it's the providing to the user a really intuitive way to collect this data. This is one of the main issues. Because of resistance, because of habits, because of wrong finalities of the app. Yelena was mentioning before WhatsApp. WhatsApp is an amazing app, but it's made for communication, is not for collecting information. But the idea is that we need to get to the point where people are so familiar to those tools like they are for WhatsApp. Mm-hmm. Another important point of resistance that we encounter is data privacy. So the idea of having a supply chain, the gold, what we look for is a completely transparent supply chain. But this is not going to happen for many reasons. One is that people don't want to share data. It's my data. It's what makes me stronger. It's my weakness. So I want to have full control of what's going on. And so you have to find, again, a balance where you can have all the information somewhere that can be found, but it's not accessible to everyone. So that's why we develop our technology, so that we only store a proof of integrity, a proof of existence of this data, and not the data, because we are always able to find it back, but it's always under the control of the owner. And then the last point of resistance is cost. Absolutely cost, but it's also interesting because, again, I was looking with much interest to the data to Yelena, is like many users seems to not be interested in a new technology. False. Everybody is interested if it makes them save money. That's the way we need to look at those kind of solutions. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Anybody wants to comment further?
Yeah, so I would agree with that. So for farmers, the purpose of adopting new technologies is key. So if it will save their cost of production, it is a reason good enough to start or use new technologies. So they are rational in this way of thinking and use it for the purpose. So one obstacle is also they will not use it if it will increase their costs. So they need to understand what are benefits coming for them in adopting new tools.
Yeah, but I think that the main thing or very important thing is that awareness of our awareness as clients is growing, and we would like to know what we eat. We would like to know everything about the product which we get. That's why I think it will be a good thing and important thing to develop such solutions. But I would like to ask Paulina for your answer. What barriers and benefits do you see in the context of implementing your application? I suppose that the benefits are quite clear for all of us. You have talked about it, but what are the barriers for your application to go?
Well, I think I'm the right person to ask because I'm present at the organization from the day zero since it started in the Polish market. So I can say that the main barrier, but it's more of a philosophical one. It's the mental barrier and people not being ready to implement new solutions, because we came on the market with something new, something unknown, something that nobody has ever heard of before on the Polish market, and that was the biggest obstacle at the beginning. Because right now the brand is quite recognizable. It's quite well known. People know it. People are driven towards it. However, at the beginning, it's all about building the brand recognition and building trust towards us. When it comes to more tech-based challenges, sometimes we face some minor technological issues like lack of mobile phone at the spot to use the app, because we have the consumer-based app and we have the app for the version of the app for the partners. So of course it's very convenient to use it on the phone. However, we came up with a version for a computer, so whenever there is hardware on the spot, we are ready to work. So I would say mental barrier plus minor technological challenges. But when it comes to benefits, of course, it's the financial one and the image, because we are very vocal about what we do. And also, I think that implementing the Too Good To Go solution into the standard operational procedure helps reduce food waste, and it helps make the whole process more healthy. However, again, it takes some reorganization of the process if we have a bigger brand decide to join us. So definitely some organizational preparation needs to be done.
I have to admit that I installed the app, but I haven't had a chance to order anything yet. I think I will make up for it soon. But also, Elżbieta in the chat asked about barriers. Barriers to grow. What barriers do you identify in working with food producers? Because you told us about consumers, and what about producers?
When it comes to producers, it happens very often that the location of the either production plant or the farmer, it's quite far from the city. And frankly speaking, we are most present at bigger cities in Poland right now, but we are growing, we are expanding, and it will definitely change in the future. However, sometimes the location is too far away for the consumer, for the user of the app to go there, because we would like to create a network of places that are reachable, not necessarily by a car, So we would like to approach the issue of climate changing, of affecting the climate in a positive way, in a comprehensive way, so that we don't have people driving to pick up the leftovers. So what we do here right now is that we, when we have a producer that would like to join the movement but is located quite far, we come up with a pickup point located in a city that will serve as one more step on the chain and will help distribute the magic bags. So
what about temperature? Because it's food, sometimes it needs to be cold.
Yeah, the pickup points that I mentioned here, they are very often our existing partners who are equipped with refrigerators and cold storage places. So that is not an issue. It's stored in how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I know. It's a good solution. It's very inspiring that you have the element of surprise. So I can order something and I don't know what I will get. It's very nice. I think sometimes it can be a problem for consumers, but I think that the awareness of your consumers it's very big, and then they just don't want to waste the food. So they buy the food not only because they are hungry and they want to get this price, but especially they don't want to waste the food. So I think that this initiative is really great. But let me back to the data issue, because Witold, I would like to ask you about the data, because you have mentioned about some GS1 standards which can identify the products in this supply chain. You have mentioned about data bar, data metrics, and it seems that these identifiers can effectively support product visibility tracking throughout the supply chain. How do you see this? It's also connected with David's solution. How do you see this using those identifiers?
Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned, using this additional extra barcodes such as data metrics or data bar allows us not only, I focused on the expiration date, right? But there was also something about the production batch, right? So for example, in terms of data exchange between all the companies in the supply chain, right, from the producer to the, maybe not consumer, but at least to the retail, to the last company, and they may exchange the data. So the basic example is, for example, if the producer of the, I don't know, ketchup finds out that his supplier of tomatoes had some problems, had some issue with the tomato, and if his processes are made accordingly to use the standards in a proper way, so he could, based on this, he could figure out which batch of his ketchup was made with, I don't know, wrong tomatoes, right? And later on, he could go directly into specific shop, right? To recall these batches, these products, which could be, I don't know, infected with some tomato disease. I'm sorry, I don't know much about veggies, but this was just like simple example in my head, right? So this is something for sure everybody knows. We call it traceability, right? And this data exchange in supply chain is, of course, very important. The standards helps it. However, it still requires all the companies, right, to have their processes adapted in the appropriate way to use them, right? So this is not that easy to be done like this, but in more and more companies are already in the, let's say, the global system. So step by step, if we attach everybody to the system, and if the supply chains will be working as we would like to, it will be really easy and very effective, right? To control it.
Yeah, but do you think it's one question from the chat? Do you think business is ready to share data within the whole supply chain?
Yeah, this is something I already mentioned it also in the chat. I mean, some of the companies are already ready to share the data. Some of them could be adapted really easy to do so, right? It won't be very, I don't know, it won't cost them a lot to do so. But the bottom line is that at the end, money is important for the companies. And as example of this, why sometimes companies are not so willing to share the data is it's based on actually the example which I faced during the research about the application is, for example, some companies which are owners of the shops, right? They could know a lot about the expiration dates of the products, but they are not that interested to share it with the shop owners, because most of the shops are working in the franchise system, and at the end the cost of the lost product goes to the franchise owner, right? Not to the shop owner, right? Not to the company. So they share some data with them, but they don't see a point to do so, right? So as you can see, this is a little bit tricky, right? Some companies could do so, but it's not something which has any value for them.
Jelena, what about those farmers? They are aware that they should give us information, but what is needed to increase technology adoption among farmers? We know, and they are a very important player, they should give us information. What is needed? We can't hear you.
Your microphone is
your microphone off. Is.
Yes, sorry for that. Okay, so first for them to use technologies, it's they need knowledge. They need technical skills. Sometimes, very often, they need financial support. They need to understand and to see demonstration of benefits that they have personally for their business. And another important thing is that they don't feel this like a social or public pressure that is there on them. So the decision to use technology and also to share data should be owned by farmers, not because someone is pressuring them to do this. And relating to share of data, different countries and farmers from different countries react differently on that. So, for example, Germans are really not open to do so. In some other countries, sharing data is more easier for farmers, let's say, but it depends also on how this topic is present in media or around farmers, and they need to link this with the benefits they have. So with the purpose to their work.
Yeah, but let's imagine that they want to give us information. They know benefits, but David, what kind of information do you collect from farmers in the field?
Yeah, I'm following and taking notes of all the questions that went through and all the topic. I think I will just use the question that you're asking me to just make a little bit of a broader take on all that's happened. So which type of data we collect from the field? It doesn't matter. We collect the information that we need to collect for the specific application. Which brings me to the very important point, which is which data model do you use to be so flexible? Because that's the important thing. So we came to a very simple data model, which is combined of assets and events. An asset is everything that is like an object, and events, it's something that happens to that asset. I have a ton of crops, barley, okay, that's an asset. I split it in two. This is an event, and I create 2 new assets. I do some analysis on this barley. I see there is aflatoxin free. Boom, this is another event that creates another asset. And so thanks to this type of plasticity, we can follow any type of process, okay? Then data availability. We had to implement a very sophisticated system of permissions so that we can handle different type of organization and the level inside this organization and sharing of the different events and assets between a sub-level of organization or 2 different organizations. And that's that has been quite complex. Somebody before was asking about the blockchain. What brings the blockchain, this new technology, to the pot? It brings immutability and data integrity, and that's all we want to say. But another problem with data, and we told before was much more optimistic than I am, is data silos. So there are many different types of way of collecting digital information, and it's extremely difficult to have them talk one another just because of format. Now, one of my developers can write down in a few hours, write a line of code and move some data from one repository to the other. But who's going to pay my developer? It is an expensive task, and that's quite complicated. The way we see it evolving in the future, we see that worldwide, let's take for the example of the European community, we are using this distributed ledger technology, which is the blockchain, as a way to share information between many parties, which in essence is a way to face, this data silos. But then you look a little bit closer and you see that the European community is developing its blockchain. China is developing its blockchain. Walmart is developing his blockchain, which is not the same as the United States, and so on and so forth. So we realized that this is not going to be 100% of the solution, so we implemented as well a blockchain agnosticity protocol. So we can parallelize multiple repositories at the same time. And then I have seen a question also going through into the chat, and it's like, okay, what about the return of investment?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, because we have to back to the costs data.
Super important questions, because let's face it, in a perfect world, we can be able to say, okay, you have full transparency, then you can optimize all your logistic, your waste management, promotions, availability on the territory. Amazing. But we are not there yet. So what there is before that we can harvest right now to drive the implementation of this technology, okay? And what we are seeing, and it's also connected with what you were saying before, Marta, is that brand credibility, it's something extremely important. So consumer wants to know more and more what they are purchasing, what they are eating, where it's coming from. And so this is the first leverage that we are using to implement this type of technology.
You want to say that I am consumer. I am aware of I would like to know what I eat, and you say that I can pay for this information. And maybe it's some kind of solution. I can pay. So if you give me application, for example, which can give me information what I eat, what was the way from farm to fork, maybe I will be able to pay for it, because it's very important for me.
That's a way to monetize.
We are aware.
Oh, sorry, my connection is a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, okay. So my connection was like, that's a way to monetize that. But you don't need to monetize value. You can harvest value. Give you a simple example. We are working with a fair trade producer of cacao. Okay. So we are providing him with a platform that allows to demonstrate and to share this information directly with the client, where the cacao is coming from and where the premium price paid on the chocolate bar that is made with is being used at the level of, I don't know, creating a program of education, water, and so on and so forth. Okay, so instead of me as a final consumer to pay me for having those information, I can provide it as an extra, and the chocolate producer as an advantage in the market. And this is something that we can, I can tell you that works, because this is what clearly we are doing now as a first way of leveraging this type of added value in the transparent supply chain.
I suppose that we can, we should look at those solutions or applications and so on as some solutions kind of win-win-win. Everyone win. Win consumers because they know what they buy. Win producers because their products will be, will have full visibility. And yeah, it should be the farmers also. Yeah, it's yeah, because of awareness of consumers, I think that they must give information, and they just maybe for some years they just want to have information where I should put my data, because I want to give my data to your application, because I want my consumer knows everything about my product. So so I suppose it will be next years will be those solutions will have great opportunity to grow. Yeah, everything because of our awareness. I think that we have some time left, so I will check if we have any additional questions from our listeners, because I suppose that it was some questions for Paulina about Too Good To Go and your application.
I may help with this question. Do you list food?
Because we have a lot of questions in the chat.
Yeah.
It has been copied.
Do you list food that was served but not totally consumed, or the ones that have not been served but about to expire?
Well, any food that has been served and even partly consumed has started to be consumed, so we cannot really help with that. However, anything that was presented like in canteens, in those metal trays, this can be still uploaded on the app. However, if it was touched by the fork of the consumer and partly consumed, we cannot help with that, unfortunately.
Well, I think that, thank you for the answer. I think that all questions were covered in your speeches, in your presentation, or in your discussion. It was really interesting. And I think that we would like to discuss more about it. And tomorrow we will have this opportunity, because we will host George Vers, who is a project manager of a huge project, Internet of Food and Farm 2020. and he will deliver his speech about the solutions that were invented and implemented as a result of this project. So I kindly invite all of you who are interested in this area to join us. And as far as just for summing up, the results of our survey are concerned, I would like to show you what do you know, what we know. So the first question was about the bottle of wine having a digital twin, and I would say that it was easy to answer by Davide, because this is the solution which was actually delivered to the market by his company. And as you can see, 37.5% of our respondents didn't find it as true. The second one was actually a part of Internet of Food and Farm project, Smart Trades for Fruits, that can help to reduce of logistic bottleneck and decrease food waste. They are actually available and they are part of the supply chain. Scanning a fish on your plate with your smartphone to learn how and where it was harvested. Not yet, my audience, not yet. We still need a packaging to track this fish, and the scientists are working on the solutions that will allow us to scan this fish on our plate. Monitoring the food quality in the delivery bag. I think it could be interesting for Paulina. This is actually on the market, and it was delivered by Zest Labs, and this solution is being implemented. Having item store accuracy of 98% owing to a supply chain that has pinpoint precision. This is a truth, this is a fact, and it was a solution that was delivered by Accenture to one of American retailer, and they have this 98% store accuracy. And the last but not least, food delivery by drones. We would like to have our food delivered by drones, but still there is much to be done in terms to make it safe and to make it safe in terms of our food quality, but in terms of navigation as well. And the market for drones food delivery is growing, but still it's not so popular as we may wish for. Okay, so that's it for this panel. Thank you very much to all panelists. So clap our hands again for beautiful presentations and discussion. I am really delighted to invite you now to stretch the legs. It is important, you know, to be well with our not only spirit and mind, but also with our body. So we introduce Alicja Lisiecka, who will help us to relax a little bit in this coffee break. So please join us. You can switch off your cameras if you want to feel more comfortable while exercising. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.